Hello VC, it's Eric. I am back with another vinyl video. This time around I'm going to be showing mainly my some of my heavy metal stuff, some of my hard rock stuff, and some stuff I think people will dig. But first, this is a 7-inch by a band called PAW. It is on Nasty Pope Records from 1992, and you can see the nice yellow vinyl there. The songs are Sleeping Bag and Hard Pig, which were off of their first album, Dragline. If you are a fan of early 90s hard rock, alternative grunge, if you will, stuff that was influenced by bands like Bullet La Volta or Tad, PAW might very well be up your alley. They also have a touch of country in their sound. They're a band that I dig from that era. This is the back of it. This is obviously a promo. I want to point out the green tape that's around the edge of this sleeve. I did not do that. This was how I found it in a record store back in 97. The record store was called Epicenter and was located in San Francisco. It was the record store that was attached to Maximum Rock and Roll, the punk scene. And this is not something that they would have covered, but something they might have been sent. And the green tape actually was reportedly something that the then editor of Maximum Rock and Roll, Tim Yohannan, did with all of the albums, 7 inches and whatnot, that came in for review. So this probably got sent to them, and he probably put the tape on there and said, this is not for us, and put it in their store to sell. I'm showing you that because a lot of people have been showing, or not a lot, more than a few have been showing this. This is the Death to Traitors LP. This was the band's second record. This is on black vinyl, not really much to see there. This is one that I got around the time it came out. A promo, as you can see. This was a band I quite liked. I got to see them play exactly one song live because I showed up to the in-store gig late, and then I showed up to the concert late, so I kind of sat outside and heard them play without going in. Great band. I think they got lost in the shuffle. I think they were being pushed to be something they weren't, and I think they got killed in the great record label consolidation of the mid-90s. Well worth finding and checking out, as it's their first album, Dragline. Highly recommended stuff. Hey, it might work for you, might not. So on to the metal records. Now, a lot of these, more than a few, are records that I happened to see years ago when library sales would have, fill your bag for $5 and you can put whatever materials in there you want. These are mainly records I picked up, or not mainly, a lot of them are records I picked up when people were just still dumping their vinyl collection. And start off with Anthrax, Among the Living. I'm not a huge Anthrax fan, but hey, I saw the record and thought, why not? I mean, this has got some classic stuff on there. Among the Living, obviously, I Am the Law, that kind of stuff. It's a solid 80s thrash metal record, one that I'm sure a lot of you have on some format and enjoy. The next one is actually the Anthrax single for I Am the Man, which has got some live tracks and remix and a cover of Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. I think that came from the same place as the other one. Next up, if you guys do not have this album in your collection and you run across it, pick it up. This is the Blue Oyster Cult's debut album. If you only know Don't Fear the Reaper, there's a lot of good stuff in their back catalog. I would say their first 5 or 6 albums are definitely worth picking up. There were deluxe CD reissues of their first 5 albums, probably 10 years ago now, 15 years ago now. Definitely worth a listen. It's got classic stuff on it like Transmaniacon MC, Red and the Black, Stairway to the Stars. Just get this. I'm sorry, Red and Black is not on this one. Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll. Great classic stuff. Probably their best known album, The Agents of Fortune. This one does have Don't Fear the Reaper. There's also got a lot of good stuff like Saint Summer of Love, Sinful Love, Tattoo Vampire. Once again, great band, classic stuff. I think they're kind of overlooked and forgotten by a lot of people. Definitely worth checking out and having in your collection. This record sold a lot of copies, so you can find, player copies, not in great shape, but player copies for sure out there to add to your collection. And then I have their 1982 live set, Extraterrestrial Live. This has got a lot of the hits, a lot of the classic tracks on it. There's The Gatefold. This has got Cities on Flame, Hot Roads to Hell, Red and the Black, Dominant Submission. Godzilla, Joan Crawford, Burning for You, veteran of the Psycho Wars. This is great stuff. Solid live recording. Definitely check that out. So, next up is a local band. I'm not sure if they're still around. Called Blue Snaggletooth. Dimension Thule is their first album. And this is indeed a black light album. So if you have a black light, it will glow. This is kind of stoner rockish with a definitely kind of geek bent. You know, obviously, if you know the reference to their name, that's a Star Wars reference. And then definitely there's some Conan, Robert E. Howard, Lovecraft kind of stuff in here. You can find their music on the, I believe it's Bandcamp or GarageBand, one of those sites. Definitely check them out. My brother used to manage a band called Mazinga that the guitar player played in, and we actually put out a couple of records, and we had a record label back in the 90s. This is the record. It's on blue vinyl. And it's put out by a local label here called Arbico Records. You can get a shot there of the center label. Cool stuff. This one's from 2011. Here's their insert. Trying to look very MC5. You got to represent the hometown guys there. Also definitely a blue cheer kind of a feel. They had a second album out. This one's called Beyond Thule. This one is Gatefold. I think this one's from like 2014-ish. Somewhere in there. Also on Arbico Records. Cool stuff if you get it. If you're into the pulpy, Lovecraftian, trippy, stonerish, hard rock, heavy metal stuff. This one actually came on, let's see if I can get this here, clear vinyl. All right, moving right along. I've spoken before about my my love of the record label Enigma Records. Well, they had you can see Enigma right there. They had a deal for distribution with Metal Blade Records. And so they were involved with the release of this album by Fate's Warning. Sort of progressive metal in the kind of Queensryche, Crimson Glory range. It's a band that I kind of liked, kind of flirted with. Haven't played them in a long time, but somewhere along the way, probably at the library sale or whatever, I picked up this LP. The record's just on plain black vinyl, but I still have the original sleeve. So, cool kind of stuff. If you haven't checked them out, they're definitely worth a listen. So, something much more recent. This is Clutch's Earth Rocker record. Clutch is a band that I have kind of a strange relationship with. I've liked some of their stuff, not liked some of their stuff. But, you know, this kind of Jack Kirby-ish, psychedelic, spacey stuff really hits my wheelhouse. Good stuff. Great album. Definitely worth checking out, worth picking up. Here's the inner sleeve. I love that artwork. That artwork is amazing. If you don't know Jack Kirby, he was the comic creator who worked at both Marvel and DC. In the 70s, he did a series called The Eternals for Marvel that had that kind of a look to it. He was kind of the inventor of that style. Yeah, look him up. There's a lot of stuff out there about him. Finally, going back to the space rock, this is Nick Turner, Space Gypsy. Nick Turner was an original member or an early member of Hawkwind, which most of you will know from Lemmy's early participation. He was their saxophone player. And this is just another kind of space rock, psychedelic, slightly jazzy, but definitely progressive record. Yeah, I picked this one up because I kind of liked his stuff. There's that sleeve. Check that stuff out. Killer stuff. This is just on black vinyl. So, one last thing. Halloween's coming up, and I'm hoping to do some horror music, horror punk videos. That's kind of the wheelhouse that I was living in from about 96 till about 99. You know, I mentioned my brother and I had a record label that we were oriented towards horror punk stuff. But this is a band. This is Phantasm, the Abominable. I don't believe this ever got an LP release. I think there was a 7-inch single. My brother might actually have it. Death, metal, horror stuff. You can find this on YouTube and listen to it. And I'm getting a really bad reflection there. But great stuff if that's in your wheelhouse at all. If you want something that is heavier than White Zombie, but maybe more understandable than, say, Cannibal Corpse, Phantasm is worth checking out. So, subscribe if you're enjoying these. Hit the like button if you liked it. If there's something you can do better, let me know. Leave comments. And I hope everyone's having a good one. Catch y'all later.